let's get this party started. Hello and welcome! It is playoff time here at the Super League Championships. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm joined by Gabby Sparts, who earned herself a bye by 3-0ing the group stage. She'll be playing later on. But first, Paul Cheon, Gold level pro. Shaun McLaren, Platinum level pro. Who is going to win this match and take on Li Shitian? Paul has brought an Atarka red deck to the table. He's taken a mulligan. He's got 3 lands. Still doesn't have a 1-drop, but probably has to keep that draw at 6 cards, I would think.
Whole hand is super yuck.
Yeah, it's no 1-drop. I mean, I had a super tough mulligan call. Wow. Okay, yeah, he did keep it. I had a super tough mulligan when I played against Paul when I was on the Atarka red side, and kind of kept the, nice mix of stuff, but no 1-drop hand, and his Esper deck just punished me pretty severely for that. Shaun McLaren, meanwhile, a little on the land-heavy side. I mean, he's on 5-land, 3-spell at this point, so we'll see. I think we'll have a good game here. Neither draw is...
The thing is, Shaun is land light right now, but has 2 very good removal spells against Paul. Fiery Impulse can take down almost anything. Silk Wrap is really good at removing something too. And then Ojutai's Command is a good way to gain some life, and potentially if he draws a creature, get it back from the yard. So it's kind of slow, but it seems very reasonable against Paul. And he doesn't know that Paul's hand is actually very, very slow.
Fair. What Shaun's hand does not line up well against is Hordling Outburst.
Correct. That is definitely true. And that is a benefit for Paul's deck, is to have cards like this that just create a lot of creatures, and then what is Shaun going to do? He can't 1-for-1 with all of them.
Yeah, Paul is trying to decide whether to run the Abbot out on turn 2. I think you just run it. Like, you don't want to not play a creature on turn 2. I mean, you're giving up the value of potentially getting a free card off Abbot of Carroll Keep, but...
Looks like he passed.
Wow, it does look like he passed.
I mean, Paul's hand is not good. In the case that the hand is not good, it's entirely possible he wants to just draw another land, play an Abbot. Hopefully he gets a spell or some value out of it. It's just...
Sure.
It seems tougher for him to win with the hand that he has right now.
Yeah, he probably goes turn 3 Hordling Outburst, turn 4 Abbot is probably how Paul plays this from here, which is reasonable. I mean, he does know his opponent plays Fiery Impulse, and the Abbot could just die.
Right. There's a chance he just gets to draw something out of it too, though. If he does manage to draw one of the 1-mana like burn or even creatures, that's pretty good for him. Yeah,
I just meant, in fact, if Shaun had a Fiery Impulse, Paul's turn 2 Abbot would have died with no extra value. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I think maybe that's what he was concerned with. I can completely see not wanting to run the Abbot out immediately. It's not like you got out the gates really fast anyway.
I would have played it. But...
I think I would have jammed too, but I think I can understand why he didn't. I'm thinking that maybe it was better. We're about to... I mean, we don't know what's going to be revealed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
Fair enough. So you're just gonna, yeah.
Hordling Outburst into turn 4 Abbot is a much better way to sequence those two.
Absolutely.
Given that you're not playing Abbot on turn 2. And now, we said this is the card that Shaun's hand is actually a little bit vulnerable to. And you don't really want to Fiery Impulse 1 token, but you kind of have to.
It feels bad, but you kind of have to.
Indeed. And now, I mean, do you also Silk Wrap 1 while you were here?
You might have to, and I think he's gonna. I know he probably can't feel like he can take any damage from these little goblins, but it's... Oh, man, talk about losing value here.
Yeah, and Shaun has also drawn land on the last 2 turns.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously less than ideal.
Yeah, so here comes Abbot of Carroll Keep, and any land is good, and even...
And pretty much any spell short of Hordling Outburst is also good.
Yeah, so the Windswept Teeth was... I mean, at least he's not drawing the Windswept Teeth now. He doesn't need the land, but this is better than nothing. I guess flipping over a Hordling Outburst would have been pretty bad. I don't know how many he runs in the deck.
2.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
not exactly what Shaun wants to see.
Well, I mean, Utter End it's an instant speed spell that can break up a combo kill. I mean, he'll take it. Now he gets to leave up 2 instants and 4 mana.
Yeah, I mean, it will remove the Abbot. It's so expensive for what it gets to do right here. I guess he would have rather found a creature that maybe he could put in the yard block with, like a Mantis Rider that maybe dies and then... Or a Mantis Rider that can block. I guess the Mantis Rider will die to anything anyway, so maybe it doesn't do anything.
Alright, Paul Cheon's now got a Goblin and an Abbot. He's got a pair of Wild Slashes that don't really do a whole lot given the lack of Jace in Shaun's draw. Does he dash out a Zergo here? Does he just sit on his Temur Battle Rage?
It's kind of scary to go all in on Temur Battle Rage when your opponent has 4 mana up, especially a red deck.
I think the real question is whether he plays Zergo into Ojutai's command mana, or whether he just settles for the Abbot and the Goblin.
Yeah, it does look like Shaun's representing Ojutai's command, so maybe you just try to go for some burn?
Yeah, those Wild Slashes would effectively deal 3 since they'll give a Prowess trigger to the Abbot, so it's not crazy. He's going to dash out the Zergo.
He's going to dash it out.
Like, all right, if you've got an Ojutai's command, let's just slog through that portion of the game. This would also get Shaun tapped out, and Shaun is not interested in tapping out, where Paul could combo kill him, right? Paul could have just gone Temur Battle Rage and become immense, so Shaun was not interested in tapping 4 mana pre-combat and opening himself up to just getting combo killed.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good play by Shaun, because now he will be able to remove... If Paul tries to go for anything too crazy here, he gets to kill whatever is being targeted. Right. Otherwise, he can just still take care of a problematic creature at this point and still have Ojutai's command next turn for when Paul has to recommit mana to dash the Zergo again.
Yeah, now kind of the tricky part here is that Shaun had to basically take the damage, because if he'd utter-ended during combat, Paul could have then replied with this hypothetical combo kill. So he basically took the damage, waited until end step, and then once we were safely in the end step where no Become Immense Temur Battle Rage combo could kill him, Shaun traded the utter-end for that Abbot.
And it's a great play. It's the same reason, and it's the same thing that control players will do with Vault, with Perilous Vault. They'll have to take some damage from a creature because they don't want to allow their opponents to have something during their second main phase. They just want to do it at end step. It means you take extra damage, but you essentially get to blank their
Fiery Impulse
bit of their turn.
That Fiery Impulse is a great draw for Shaun. Now at 5 mana, because he was going to be in the same spot this turn, right?
Right.
Paul was going to dash Zergo. Shaun was going to have to decide whether to Ojutai's command or not, knowing that Paul could, in theory, follow up with Become Immense Temur Battle Rage on this Goblin token. Well, now Shaun can Ojutai's command, leave up the red for the Fiery Impulse.
Right, and then it still puts Paul in a situation where he can't really go for it. Or if he does, he's going to get horribly punished. And Paul can probably sniff that out. He's not really going to fall for that.
Yeah, Paul's unlikely to combo kill into open mana. Hilariously, Paul drew the second copy of Zergo, which he was probably unhappy to see, but will feel just fine about after this one. This one gets countered.
Counter target spell and draw card.
Yeah, I chose draw a card over 4 life, which I think I like given Shaun.
Yeah, I agree. So Bloodstained Mire was the draw.
Other land.
What?
Yeah.
So dash out the other Zergo.
Indeed. And
Shaun's probably going to take damage again here.
Yeah, I mean, he opens himself up to Become Immense if he uses his Fiery Impulse, so I'm with you. I think you take 3.
Yeah.
And he did.
So is Shaun going to Fiery... Is there a chance that Shaun Fiery Impulses the Goblin? Oh, Disdainful Stroke.
Chose not to.
Huh.
Shaun figures he wants the ability to reply to a Become Immense.
Right.
There's going to be an attacking creature next turn either way, so that all makes sense.
Right. Disdainful Stroke not doing a whole lot here. If Paul had Become Immense, it'd be a different story, but right now it's so blank.
It does give Shaun a different way to play around Become Immense, though. I mean, I think Shaun's happy to have it, even though he doesn't realize it does nothing here.
Right.
And now Paul is starting to accumulate kind of a combo kill, right? Titan Strength Become Immense is enough to make... almost makes the Goblin token lethal.
Mm-hmm.
The Wilds, certainly... dropping Shaun to 1 while you've got 2 Wild Slashes in your hand is close enough to lethal. And now,
This time Shaun did it during combat. He can't really afford to be taking this much damage anymore.
And he can counterspell a Become Immense, so he's a little bit less worried.
Right. The problem is the lack of Become Immense in Cheon's hand.
Right, now it's sort of Cheon. Now it's our turn to watch from Paul's perspective. Paul doesn't know what Shaun has. Shaun has 3 cards, and Paul could... I mean, Paul's hand is lethal, right? Titan Strength, Become and plus Battle Rage deals 8, Wild Slash deals 2, dead. 4 mana. I guess he's short the 1 mana this turn. But yeah, Paul isn't going to go for even part of that because he sees that Shaun has a bunch of untapped mana and 3 cards.
Oh, interesting. So Shaun draws Duress, and now Paul has a chance here to respond with a bunch of things if he wants.
Well, what is he... I think he's okay if Shaun takes Wild Slash.
You can slash, but it doesn't... I mean, it doesn't really do that much.
Yeah, I think you have to just let this resolve, unfortunately, for Paul. Maybe he kind of wishes he'd gone for it now. I mean, presumably, Shaun's going to wind up taking the Titan Strength, so Paul is... He's going to lose out on that Scry unless he responds, but if he responds, then he loses another card in addition to merely getting a Scry off the Titan Strength.
Right. I mean, he just let it resolve. He let it resolve, right?
Okay.
Shaun
I think you have to.
Yeah. I think Shaun's just deciding what to take, and this is tough. You're in... what was it? The Titan Strength? That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it turns the team of Battle Rage into +1.
Right.
So, it definitely neuters Paul's hand. Ooh. That was a good draw.
That's a big change. This is a game changer.
Dashes out the Lightning Berserker. He can pump it 3 times to deal 5 with this attack phase. And keep his whole hand intact.
Right. And this would be so punishing if Shaun had any way to remove the Berserker, but doesn't. And I think Paul is just going to go all in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even that punishing if Shaun can remove it, right? It's a 1-for-1 trick.
It's not that much, but you're starting to get to a point where I guess Paul doesn't really know what Shaun has in him, but knows that there are no creatures, for sure. Otherwise, they would be out in the battlefield.
True story.
So what else is in hand, you know? Okay, 3. Wow.
Is Tasigur... I mean, Tasigur sure looks like Tasigur's too late here. I mean, Paul's 2 Wild Slashes are in fact lethal, and there's really not a lot of reason not to just point them at Shaun's head.
Yeah, I mean, he could... Only Ojutai's Command, I think, could do something for him here. Is there any way that he can play Tasigur, activate, get back Ojutai's Command? He can do that.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be down to 1 mana is the problem.
He would need to... No, he can delve enough stuff away and just leave the Ojutai's Command.
Yeah, but 4 mana to activate the Tasigur means
he can't. Yeah. And he already saw that hand. He saw that hand.
Exactly. Shaun had seen the 2 Wild Slashes. He knows there's absolutely no reason Paul isn't just going to point them at his face. So Shaun knows he's dead, not interested in showing Paul anything else that might help Paul understand the way Shaun plays this matchup.
Yep, that makes total sense.
Now let's check on the sideboards.
He also had the opportunity, if he hadn't known his hand, he could have had the opportunity to do the same thing with a removal spell to try to kill the last goblin, but he knows he's just dead to the Wild Slashes in hand.
Precisely. A lot of sideboard cards for Shaun. I mean, they're all 1-ofs, but I mean, the Radiant Flames obviously come in. That's a 2-of. Virulent Plague is pretty good in this matchup.
Yes, and I actually see right now that Cheon is boarding in all of his Hordling Outbursts, so... Oh no, he's boarding them out. No. He brought them in, then he brought them out.
Funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. It's really scary against Virulent Plague. What do? You lose.
See Shaun showing us he's brought in every cheap creature he can. Although the Outcast went into the sideboard.
Yeah.
The Digs came out, the Dragonlord Silumgar's out, the 2 Utter Ends are out. I mean, he's done his best to just lower the curve.
Yeah, he just wants to make it as cheap as possible.
Precisely. He gets an Arisen Cleric now, he gets a Dispel, gets a Virulent Plague, gets a couple of Radiant Flames.
The Radiant Flames are going to be pretty good right here. Seems like, so it seems like Cheon's taken out all the Hordling Outburst, brought in some Chandras, taken out the Wild Slashes, and...
Brought in the Heal Cutter.
Oh, took out some of the Instant Speed, the Titan Strength, I see that they're out. It's kind of scary to do it against, fiery Impulse decks.
So he kept Become Immense, but not Titan Strength. So he's got He's got Become Immense Team or Battle Rage. Just doesn't have the Titan Strength piece of it.
Yeah, it doesn't have the Titan Strength anymore. It's really hard to find a window to do it against the Jeskai opponent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was setting up my entire combo. My version of the deck was a little different than Paul's, but I was bringing in Hooting Mandrills.
Oh, so Paul still has some Goblin Makers. I see the Dragon Fodder right there.
Yep.
But the Hordling Outbursts are gone. Hand looks pretty good for Paul. Let's see Shaun.
Shaun's looks pretty good, too.
Yeah, they both look pretty good.
Impulse, Negate, Mantis Rider, Tassiger, Crackling Doom. I mean, he'll need a third land to really operate.
Yeah.
But as long as he comes up with a third land, he'll be fine.
Yeah, we got ourselves a game of Magic. Yeah, this is Swift Spear into Dragon Fodder into Chandra. That looks pretty good. Trigger your Swift Spear attack. Ooh, Felidar Cub from Shaun.
Guy blocks. He does some work.
The guy blocks.
Sometimes you just want a Grizzly Bear, right? Scry is Tassiger.
Do we know if he kept it on top?
He's still thinking.
What would you do?
I would push Tassiger to the bottom.
Yeah, I think so. I think you want some early...
You put it on top. I mean, it's close. The thing is, you need your third land. I mean, I guess with Jace, he feels like he'll get some extra draws. I'll be a little bit surprised he mulliganed the first hand.
Yeah, me too.
He wound up with another sort of 2-land Mantis Rider hand, although this one does have a Jace, so it's probably better, but...
I mean, Jace on turn 2 is really good, especially, obviously, given that he lives. But, I'm sure there's something that I don't know that Shaun knows about keeping or mulling that hand, but I don't really understand shipping.
I don't know. That feels like, let's get Paolo to put this one in an article.
Yeah, I would be interested to hear. I would love to hear what he had to say about that because I don't see it myself.
Well, chat seems to be split, but Luis has sided on the side of Mulligan. Luis is also cheering for his buddy Paul Cheon, though. So
Luis is also trolling. FYI. Let's just clear that up. So it looks like Paul drew a forest.
Yeah, that's a forest on the edge of Paul's hand. Yeah, there's no way Shaun's going to block here.
Yeah. Right, and now it's much better to run out your McKinney Slide Runner.
Yeah. I mean, he could have done Dragon Fodder pre-combat to trigger prowess and be able to attack through Jace, but whatever. If Shaun actually blocked, he would have just traded a Battle Rage for the Jace and been fine.
Right. Paul doesn't run that many lands in this deck either, so the landfall triggers that you do get to put on that McKinney Slide Runner are pretty valuable.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Slide Runner, even in the 21, 22 land versions of this deck. All right. Jace has not found a third land. Felidar Cub does come down to block. Yeah, I'm not sure this mulligan has worked out all that well. Paul Cheon up a game. So he gets this one, and he's through to the semifinals.
See, so Dragon Fodder, it is nice I get to trigger the Swift Spear.
Yeah. And now I'll trigger landfall.
Oh, and the Bloodstained Mire gets to pump
threaten to double trigger.
Runner so I can double trigger and attack through this cub.
Now,
the cub's pretty bad at blocking right here.
Right. Paul's probably only sacking if Shaun blocks. Otherwise, he can save that landfall trigger for next turn since he doesn't have anything to do with the mana here. But yeah, I mean, Paul curved just the way he wants. 1-drop into 2-drop into 2-drop prowess trigger. Shaun is scuffling for lands. This is one of the reasons you run a Tarka Red, even in a not great matchup. I mean, the Tarka Red matchup against Jeskai is not great. I think you're a dog. Although, I mean, the Jeskai list Shaun showed up with is a little more tuned to beat control than it is to beat red. Paul may actually be advantaged here. And certainly he's advantaged to the way this game is played out.
Right.
All right. He's going to go ahead and
crack. Paul chose to activate. Yeah, he chose to crack the land. It is more damage. More damage gets through. Fiery Impulse. What does this do for Shaun?
Makes Paul feel better
He's
about
taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's down to 11 already. I mean, what Shaun needs, he needs land number 3. He needs to play a Mantis Rider
Yeah.
and or a Tassiger.
Yeah. He wouldn't mind it a fetch land too, so he can eventually flip this Jace and start shrinking some of
Yeah.
Paul's board.
Ugh, the land comes into play tapped.
That is not the land he's looking for.
And that basic island doesn't do anything in this hand. He has to choose between Duress and Fiery Impulse. He only gets to do one of them. He's not to Tassiger mana yet. One short. Fetch line there would have been gigantic.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think you can...
Spot.
Yeah, what this is a really Duress.
Discard.
I mean, I don't know what would be the turn where you play Duress given your hand right now.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
hoping
why
to play the
chose
Mantis
Discard.
Rider really soon. Hopefully you get enough cards in the graveyard for, Tassiger to flip. So
Yeah, given the way his lands
are you
played out,
casting it?
I think Duress makes sense as the discard there. All right, Paul plays a land. McKindy Slide Runner triggers. Paul is now going to turn his creature sideways. Paul's hand is gas. He's got Titan Strength into Temur Battle Rage, so he didn't take out all the Titan Strengths. He shaved some, but that combo is pretty good here. If Shaun taps his... If Shaun Fiery Impulses, Paul's going to be very tempted to just unload on him. I guess the one Dispel is the only thing that could punish him off a basic island. And if Shaun doesn't tap his mana, then Paul will just content himself with a bunch of damage this way.
Oh, this attack, so scary.
Right?
Yeah.
Eldar Cub is going to attempt to trade with Slide Runner.
Yeah, so you have an interesting decision here of your Paul, because you can really try to hammer here and close the doors, but you don't know what Shaun has in hand.
Right.
You could get punished by a Fiery Impulse. So
I don't
the
think
game is going very well for him. He doesn't need to push that hard.
Yeah, I think you just say okay. If Shaun wants to Fiery Impulse and stop some damage, great. Respond to that. Paul, he's tempted by the Battle Rage, which I guess would be enough for Slide Runner to beat up a Felidar Cub.
Right. And
Doesn't get trample though. He's not monstrous. It's only 3 power.
Yes, you're right. Could you do it if you cast? No, you can't. No.
Yeah, I mean, if you cast Titan Strength first.
Yeah, if you cast Titan Strength and then then you're going all in though.
I think you
really don't have to.
If he yields, he can play Chandra. All right, he is gonna Battle Rage. I assume the Battle Rage is on the Slide Runner. Yeah.
Yes.
So that it can beat up the Cub rather. Now, if Paul hadn't cracked that fetch land last turn, he could actually just be cracking a fetch land here to beat up the Cub. Slide Runner does already have trample, so.
Okay, so no need
trample.
to.
He doesn't need the ferocious ability, of course. Now, Shaun has to decide what he wants to do with his Fiery Impulse. Double trample would be really powerful in this life. Double trample too.
The super trample. So what do you think you'd do if you're Shaun here?
I think you have to Fiery Impulse Slide Runner.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's going to get blown out because he does not have Spell Mastery. That is a Jace, a Flooded Strand, and a Duress in his yard. So Titan Strength will actually save the Slide Runner from Fiery Impulse. And now you've just been wombo comboed.
This is going to lose him the game, but he's at a spot where he has to do this.
Right. I mean, I think you have to. I mean, Shaun's looking at this right now. He knows that, Become Immense completely destroys him, and Titan Strength is plenty good enough. It might even be lethal.
Right. Is there an argument to negate? Is that reasonable, or can you just not try to do that in the spot?
Oh, negate's not terrible. There's definitely an argument for negate.
But is it a reasonable argument?
He lets it resolve. Shaun is going to go for this Fiery Impulse. I don't blame him. He's basically saying, look, I'm scuffling. If you've got it, you got me.
Oh, God. Blowout City is incoming.
Become Immense wins the game on the spot. And Titan Strength, what is it? It's 3 power. Titan Strength takes it to 6.
Yeah.
Double Strike. Trample?
You're also triggering the Swift
11,
Spear.
12. Yeah, the Titan Strength is also lethal.
Yeah.
Paul Cheon is looking over at one untapped island, and
you have to. I feel like you have to go for it, right?
Yeah, it's only Dispel, and even Dispel is...
There's also literally one, right?
Yes, there's literally one.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but I think Shaun had to do this, and
Yep. And Paul's going
Cheon
for
also
it.
has to do this, and this is gonna be a quick dispatch right here.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, the way Shaun's hand came up this game, the only decision, you have to go all the way back to the Mulligan decision, I think, to find a way for Shaun to win this game.
Yeah.
Everything he's done since then, I felt like he optimized the resources that he had, and it just they didn't come up well enough. There's the first strike damage, and there's the regular damage. Paul Cheon wins 2-0, smashes Dark Jeskai. Shaun McLaren out of the tournament will have to content himself with a set of Battle for Zendikar for his 5th/6th place finish. I guess Paul has guaranteed himself 1 copy of every card in Standard. The next win gets him a 2nd copy of every card in Standard. The win after that gets him up to 4 copies and turns them all foil.
Oh, is that for what, 3rd and 4th place?
Yeah, 3rd and 4th get 1 copy of everything in Standard.
Oh, so did I lock that too?
You locked 1 card, yes. You get a
I didn't know that.
You get a Gideon. You've got at least 1 copy of everything in Standard right now.
Sweet. I did not know that. I'm pretty excited.
All right, well, it was fun hanging out with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was very fun.
Let you go watch Paul Rietzel and Eric Froelich and find out who you will be playing against in match number 4. We're going to take a quick break at this point. We're going to swap in some new commentators. Stay tuned. Luis Scott Vargas is going to take his turn in the booth. We'll be right back.